Okay.
Mr. Shiraz, once again, thank you very much for joining me to share
Okay.
some of the information about Farah Shaheen, who is from Faisalabad and child minor. She was abducted. So, would you like to share something about her life? How, where, and when it happened with Farah Khan in Pakistan?
Thank you very much, Father Yaqub Hushi, and for the passion and concern you have for Pakistani Christians. So, Farah Shaheen, as you can see on the screen, she was a 12-year-old girl when she was abducted. She has now turned 13. She comes from the Pakistani city of Faisalabad. So a 45-year-old man called Hidar Ali Khaja abducted her, and then he took her to his farm where him and two other men gang raped her, and they kept her in chains. And the police did not lodge the FIR in time. In fact, it took them months before they lodged an FIR. And it is a tragic story of forced conversion, and yet again, a tragic story, I would say. So here you can see the photograph that appeared on the screen first. Farah Shaheen looks great. She comes across as a uh, happy child, but look what the persecutors did to her. Her Around her ankles, they are covered in bandage because she was chained. She was kept as a slave there, and she was repeatedly sexually assaulted by her abductors. And the key principal abductor is Hizar Ali Khayat, who is 45 years old. And then they later forcibly converted her to Islam. So that is indeed very terrible and shows the extent of persecution Pakistani Christians, Hindus, and Sikhs face in predominantly Muslim Pakistan. And and justice for Pakistani Christians remain elusive.
So you have shared little bit about from where she was abducted and how she has suffered. And do you like to share that in Pakistan how the police support the victim or they
So
persecute them?
I would say that they do persecute in a way that when they don't provide the justice the complainant looks for, so that way they collude with the people who inflict wrong on these Christians. For example, in the case of Farah Shaheen, her parents went to the local police station, so the police should have lodged an FIR there and then. But they used dilatory tactics. The FIR was not lodged for months. So that shows the true face of the Pakistani police, that how unjust and how biased they are towards Pakistani Christians and other minorities communities in the country.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Shiraz, I find and really feel that this is unjust with the minorities in Pakistan. I want to ask you that since you are a journalist and you have been working a lot in Pakistan, would you like to share with us that is there loose loop in the constitution of Pakistan to protect the minorities, or it is just simply very clear don't support the minorities, Christian, Hindu, Muslims, or anyone who is poor?
So, Father Hushi, on paper, if you like, uh, promises have been made in the Pakistani constitution to protect the rights of Pakistani Christians, Hindus, and all citizens of the country. But when it comes to practice, we see a huge gulf. We see dichotomies and contradictions of sorts because Pakistani Christians are not given justice. The police turns a blind eye. It looks the other way. The courts don't give them justice. For example, we saw in the case of Maria Shabazz, another minor Christian girl from province Punjab of Pakistan. She was abducted and forcibly converted to Islam under similar circumstances as that of this poor Christian girl, Farah Shaheen. So the lower court, if you like, the sessions court, acquitted her and allowed her to go back to her family. But her abuser or tormentor, if you like, took the case to the High Court. And ironically, the High Court allowed Maria Shabazz to go back to the person who had then become her husband. Fortunately for Maria Shabazz, she escaped the custody of her abuser. And now I understand that a petition has been given to Fiona Bruce, MP, here in the United Kingdom, who is the special envoy on freedom of religion or belief to Prime Minister Boris Johnson, so that the United Kingdom gives the asylum to Myra Shabazz. And that's how things have become for Pakistani Christians. It has become very, very difficult for them to live there, and especially for these persecuted Christians, the victims of forced conversion. They in their own country they can't live. Such is the seriousness of the issue, and the laws to which you pointed to. Yes, there are laws in the country that govern the marriageable age for two parties to go into a marriage contract. For example, in province Punjab of Pakistan, you have to be 16 years old if you're a girl and 18 years if you're a boy before you can go into a marriage contract. In province Sindh of Pakistan, following this piece of legislation called Child Restraint Marriage Act 2013, a girl has to be at least 18 years old before she could get married. But
Okay.
we have seen again and again, over and over again, that the laws that there are not implemented at all. We have seen that happening in the case of Huma Yunus, for example, a girl from the Pakistani southern city of Karachi. She was also abducted and forcibly converted to Islam under similar conditions, and the courts did not give justice. Because what happens in the courts, the abusers of these girls, they make fake conversion certificates. When the court orders the concerned authority, for example, to determine the age of these girls, according to those reports, the girl is shown to be 18 or 19 years old. So again, all manner of falsification is done, and the true record of birth maintained by, say, a church isn't given any validity or legitimacy that it should have been given in the first place.
If I have listened you well, that you have said it very nicely about Maria Shabazz, the one who is being accepted by United Kingdom by Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister of United Kingdom.
Yeah, so a petition has been made, and asylum hasn't been granted as yet, but a petition on her behalf has been presented to Fiona Bruce, MP, who is the special envoy to Prime Minister Boris Johnson on freedom of religion or belief.
Okay. So, my purpose is this, that I am speaking and raising the voice for the individuals, those who are suffering like this, minor children being abducted, got married, continually persecuted, and then the court, before they come to the right decisions, they suffered so much, because the pictures I have seen, innocent child, this girl, and
Yes.
once she's come out from that situation, and all the freshness from that child is gone. Therefore, my purpose is to speak out from here on the global level, to deliver the information to the whole world that what is happening in Pakistan with the minorities, how you like to say something about it to the whole world, so to raise the voice on behalf of the Pakistani people, especially the minorities. I have no differentiate if they are Hindu or Sikh or Christian or poor Muslim people, but whenever any injustice take place, how the whole world needs to listen to their voice and respond accordingly.
Uh, Reverend Father Hushi, Pakistan is a signatory to many conventions on women rights, on the rights of child, for example. And it has its domestic laws as well, which we discussed a while ago. So on both counts, the Pakistani state has failed to deliver its domestic and international obligations. And now the question that you asked me as to what role the international community can play, I would say they must use their influence on the Pakistani authorities and get them to protect the rights of Pakistani Christians, Hindus, and all other vulnerable segments of society. To all Christian brothers and sisters here in the United Kingdom and around the world, I would like to say to each of you, please break your silence. Uh, the Christians of Pakistan, the Hindus of Pakistan, the Sikhs of Pakistan, they are voiceless. They are persecuted on a day-to-day basis. They cannot speak for themselves, but you can. So can I urge each of you to please get in touch with your MP, with your MSP if you're in Scotland, get in touch with the members of House of Lords, with baronesses, with the members of House of Representatives in the United States, or your congressmen or congresswomen. And please be a strong and bold voice for Pakistani Christians, Hindus, Sikhs, and other vulnerable minorities.
Mr. Shiraz Khan, it has been really a lovely experience speaking to you. It is painful. It is in the 21st century.
It is.
What is going on in Pakistan,
Absolutely.
it's absolutely devastated.
It is.
And I only want the people know outside of Pakistan that what is happening in Pakistan. My purpose My goal is to speak out for the sake of the people, those who are voiceless, those who cannot reach out to the world, those who are abducted, like this Farah Shaheen, who was nearly for 6 months away from her family. And now, if I remember, you have shown me one of the photograph of her, which is uh, this one. So I want you to say something about this. So, what was the feeling of yours and the people in Pakistan when this young girl, has joined her family?
uh, Father Hushi, as you can see, so Farah Shaheen is dressed in uh, light blue clothing, which is called like shalwar kameez in Pakistan. So you can clearly see that how jubilant she is, how happy she is. It can be seen in her face, and she is standing, celebrating uh, her acquittal, if you like, from the custody of her abusers, and even her brothers and sisters, as you can see, they're clearly very happy. They're jubilant, and this photograph was taken outside the court when yesterday, the 16th of February, when the court allowed her to go back to her family. So justice has been done, but justice delayed is justice denied. So again, first of all, the police failed to do its duty, which is to protect everyone, every citizen, including Pakistani minorities. Secondly, it shouldn't have come to this. There and then, when a complaint was made, the police should have investigated. And all those people who the high ups, for example, in the police, they also seem to have turned a blind eye. They also looked the other way because they thought at the end of the day, yet another Christian girl. What can they do? They are powerless. And even if we didn't do justice, there'll be no accountability. No, there should be accountability. There must be accountability. That police official or his higher, an inquiry should be made. And overall, to address this issue of forced conversions, because according to an estimate, Father Hushi, some 1,000 Pakistani Christian and Hindu girls are abducted and subsequently forced to convert to Islam. And these girls range between the ages of 12 to 25 years. That is how big the issue is. And that this forced conversion, and the issue of forced conversion, if you like, has left Pakistani minorities more insecure, and they live in a climate of constant fear, threats, and intimidation. And I think Pakistan must wake up to the reality that they have been a failure through and through when it comes to giving Pakistani Christians their rights. And the last thing in this connection, I would like to say, either Pakistani government says that, okay, we have the laws governing marriage between parties in terms of the issue of consent to marry, in terms of the issue of what is the marriageable age for parties. Either they say that, yes, we have the laws and we will follow them, we will implement them, we will execute them to the letter, or they say, no, we don't have any laws. We are helpless because we are ruled by mobs. We are ruled by the might. Or we have no courts, but we have kangaroo courts. The law of jungle prevails in Pakistan. So I leave this to the Pakistani authorities, that they make a choice which way or how they're going to govern Pakistan, which is becoming increasingly intolerant for Pakistani Christians and other minorities. And please, for God's sake, do not make promises which you can't deliver. Comes at any election, in the run-up to any election, the uh, the heads of all political parties, in order to bag Christians, Hindus votes, they say we would deliver you your rights. We understand that you have been neglected, that you have been forgotten. When they take office in Pakistan, the Christians are again forgotten. So this must not happen over and over again. The persecution of Pakistani Christians and other minorities must come to an end. Please bring it to a stop.
Thank you very much, Shiraz Khan. And thank you very much for all the people, those who are listening to us on the Facebook of Anavim today. So we need to pray and we need to remember the Pakistani minorities and all their suffering, that God may bless them and strengthen them, especially during this time in the 21st century as they continue to suffer because of their faith, because of being Christian, and because of being a part of the whole world. So thank you very much. Take care and God bless. Bye bye.